Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Tuesday, the 20th of December. Christmas is fast approaching, and Rangers are fast approaching because tonight, of course, the big one at Pittodrie as Rangers take on Aberdeen in the Scottish Premiership. We'll look ahead to all of that and more. Before we do that, just a reminder, we've got our Christmas offer on just now, just £1 for 2 months worth of content. Head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe for all the details. Loads of you taking advantage of it as well, so thank you very much for doing so. And Jonny McFarlane joins me. You want to butt in there, Jonny?
I'm gonna butt in. I'm just gonna say fabulous gift as well is the annual subscription, which you can give us a gift. So highly recommend people to do that, and obviously help support us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great deals on just now, folks. Head over, as I mentioned, rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe for all the details. Yeah, Colin Cooper gets in touch. Yeah, it's great to have Jonny back on as we look ahead to the big one tonight. Lots to talk about, Jonny. We'll touch on what came out of the press conference yesterday. Another very interesting press conference involving Michael Beale. Leon King was also put up for the media. One of the big takeaways, I think, we'll touch on is an update on Ryan Jack. You wrote a piece on the website yesterday that the sort of dilemma facing the Rangers manager as to whether to offer Ryan Jack a new deal. Michael Beale was speaking about him in the written section of the press conference, which comes out later on. The broadcast section is what you can see on our YouTube channel, folks. But talking about Ryan Jack, he says, in playing Ryan in the first game and him scoring against Hibs, he's doing everything he can. But obviously I showed what I think of Ryan by selecting him in my first game. In the last few months, for different reasons, Ryan has not always been available. So at the moment, he's just focusing on enjoying his football and being available. He was asked a question, he answered it honestly, and I will as well, talking about his contract situation. At this moment in time, Ryan Jack is in the best 11 players at Rangers. Why wouldn't you want to keep Ryan Jack? This sounds positive from the manager towards Jack. Jonny, we all know his injury problems over the last few years. In terms of a new deal, I think he's certainly one. I wouldn't be surprised to see him sign a new contract. I see a lot of chatter where, I think I've mentioned this before, where a possible pay-as-you-play deal might be best suited for Rangers because he has missed large chunks of games over the last couple of seasons. But it's a dilemma facing Michael Beale, isn't it? On his day, Ryan Jack is a key component of this team, but it's just when he's available.
Yeah, that's the problem with Ryan Jack, is the injury situation that he's gone through in recent years. If you look back in 1920, a season that was curtailed, as we know, it was finished by email. He performed 39 times, scoring 5 goals and notching up 4 assists. Pretty good return there, contribution every 4 games for a guy who play a more defensive role at times. The problem is, once you go into more recent seasons, 2021, of course, you start to look at the 24 games, Derek, that he played there. And if you go into 2022, which is, of course, last season, actually 22 games. Now,
Collins here saying that you're jumping a little bit the stream there, but when you speak, I don't know if it's a mic issue. I don't know if that can be remedied on air, but just jumping a little bit. Tunnock says audio issues.
I'll leave you, Derek, to answer some questions, and I'll come back.
Yeah. I'll carry on just now, folks. Johnny's away. Sort out his whatever the issue is there. Johnny's away to get it sorted. But yeah, Ryan Jack, speaking about him yesterday, Michael Beale, with regards to a new contract. What do you think, folks? Do you think he should be awarded with a new deal? It's certainly something that is stirring debate. There's no doubt about it. William West sounds like a robot. It looks like we might be getting Jonny back shortly, folks. But let us know in the comments whether you think Ryan Jack is deserving of a new deal. We've got Jonny back. He's on mute now. He's on mute now.
Sorry, I'm back now. Yes.
That's a lot better.
Does it work? I've unplugged it and replugged it back in.
That's all you had to do. The old switch off and back on again has done the trick, Johnny. So you're back in the game.
Connection there. Apologies. You're about Ryan Jack.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I was going through Ryan Jack's stats and I said he 30-99.
It's jumping again. It's jumping again, Johnny. I don't know if it's best.
I'll go away and come on, Derek, with
on
a different stream. I don't know what we're on here.
Yeah, no problem at all. We'll carry on. We'll soldier on, folks. Just Denzel says, Johnny, good when he's fit. How ironic. Right, listen, Ryan Jack certainly is. That's what Michael Beale said about him yesterday. Some of the other big talking points from the press conference as well. Very interesting, as I mentioned earlier on, Michael Beale, you're getting a lot of information from these press conferences. There's no question about it. Other points he does make, talked about a squad update. Connor Golson will be back in contention for tonight. He didn't go as far as saying whether he will be playing, but he's back in the squad for tonight's game at Pittodrie. He touched on Borna Barisic. He said he's back in Croatia at the moment, and he should be available for the Motherwell game on the 28th of December. And Stephen Davis has been sent away for a scan after landing awkwardly in training. He says it's only a slight issue, but he won't be available for tonight's game, and neither will Antonio Cholak. Michael Beale says he'll be available on Friday, all things being well. So that is it. The squad news update on who should play this evening. And let us know, he did touch on Michael Beale about having centre-backs available as well. Will Ben Davis possibly start the game, or will Connor Golson come in from the cold and start after his first appearance, of course, since hobbling off against Liverpool in that Champions League match at Ibrox back in October. Let's get to some of the comments coming in here just now. Jim McCarroll says, you guys must enjoy Beale's honesty and openness at press conference. Yeah, I was going to say it's a breath of fresh air, Jim, but it is refreshing to speak to him in these press conferences. He does give up a lot of information, but interesting information as well. And I guess as fans, that's what we want to hear. You want to listen to the Rangers manager and what he's got to say. I've got Johnny back. There he's there. Third time lucky. Jolly good. So fingers crossed.
I'm on my phone now. Hopefully this works.
Yeah. Fingers crossed for what was plain sailing from here on in. Right, Ryan Jack, you want to add your piece to that, Johnny?
Yeah, for the third time. Sorry. 39 appearances in 1920, 24 in 2021, and then 22 in 21-22. So obviously there's a serious issue over the last few seasons with Ryan Jack. However, he has played 15 games so far this season, so he's well on course to smash what he's been doing in the last couple of years. I think if you look at Ryan Jack's performances in the big games for Rangers, last season he scores the decisive goal, not the winner, but the decisive goal in the Scottish Cup final. He is absolutely imperative to that run to Seville. It literally wouldn't have happened if Giovanni Van Bronckhorst hadn't found that midfield base with Ryan Jack and John Lundstrom. So we know that he's still got it. It's just whether or not you think the amount of games he's playing makes it worthwhile. If you can do some sort of deal with him where it's pay as you play, or it's taken into account the fact that he's probably only going to play 25 to 35 games, I think you would want to keep Ryan Jack around. And I'm not surprised that Michael Beale said what he said in the presser yesterday, because he's still a very, very good player. And he showed that against Hibs, played 90 minutes and was absolutely dominant in that second half. Listen, in terms of technical ability, I think Glenn Kamara obviously tops Ryan Jack, but there's few midfielders in that squad that have the ability to do pretty much everything. And Ryan Jack's one of those guys. He can score a goal, he can get up and down, he can sit and control a game from the base of midfield, he can increase the tempo or decrease the tempo. And I think it says a lot with the amount of talent that Scotland have in that midfield area, that Steve Clarke goes to Ryan Jack whenever he's fit and puts him straight back in that team. And I actually thought Scotland at the Euros, Derek, I thought the player they missed more than any other was Ryan Jack. Because Cal McGregor, Billy Gilmore, these guys are all nice ball players, very good going forward, not the most defensively minded. Ryan Jack has got that, not just that technical ability to handle the ball, but he's got the discipline, the tactical discipline, where he's told what to do, he does it. And that's a very valuable thing for a manager, especially in a league like Scotland, where there's going to be games in Europe, especially for a team like Rangers, where he's going to have to change his game up a little bit, game to game. If you're playing Celtic, if you're playing in Europe, if you're going to Pittodrie or whatever, he's got the ability to do that and still be a key player. So I understand why there's some people who don't agree with it, who don't think it's right. Personally, Derek, I would wait a few more months and just say to Ryan Jack, look, we'll make a decision in March or whatever, see how you're feeling. But as it stands, we want you to stay, and then you can make a judgment call. But I wouldn't be throwing the baby out with the bathwater and getting rid of Ryan Jack necessarily, unless it becomes apparent that he's going to play less games than he's been playing. I said this in my piece yesterday. I'll just finish on this, Derek. I don't think the pressure on Ryan Jack is the same if Rangers have an adequate squad depth in midfield. The problem here is Rangers are 2 men short in that area for me. 2 aggressive, young, box-to-box types who can add a bit of energy in that area. And I think if you've got that, you don't have to rely on Ryan Jack for that. You can be a little bit more smart about how you're using him and allow him to probably manage his body a little bit better.
Yeah. Let's get to some of the comments coming in here. Positive Vibe says, put Johnny on a pay-as-you-say deal. And Chris Smith, another interesting point from the press conference yesterday. The interesting point, Chris, is great news about Hagi too. Looking forward to his return. Michael Beale did touch on Yanis Hagi and gave us an update as to when we can expect him to return. He says he'll play a big role when he's fit. He's a player I have a lot of belief in. I think he's a very good player in this league. I would say mid to back end of January for when he's going to return to full training. He's in light training with the group unopposed at the moment, doing a lot of work in isolation in terms of building his fitness. He's been a year out. There's a lot of muscle loss and things like that he has to go through. But we're just delighted. It's great for the group that he's out there. He's very well liked, and if we can get him back towards the back end of January to the start of February, we'll be delighted because he'll be available for at least the last 15 to 18 games of the season. That sort of ties in what we expected with Yanis Hagi, Johnny. But again, it's the old cliche, he'll be like a new player when he comes back. He offers something. He offers Rangers a little bit something different, although it remains to be seen where he'll play, because I think the experiment of playing him out wide right should be consigned to history, because that never worked. It'll be interesting. Rangers, Michael Beale might have a bit of a headache as to who he plays in that sort of attacking midfield number 10 role.
Yeah, all of a sudden, under Michael Beale and with a slight adaptation to the formation, this Rangers squad looks like it's built for the manager. Yeah, because you've got Lowry, you've got Tillman, you've got Hagi coming back. We're going to have a lot more from Hagi on the website. Joshua was lucky enough to spend a bit of time with Hagi yesterday at the training grounds. It was like twins. People didn't know which one was which. But that will be coming to the website. Josh is writing that up today, and it'll be coming to the website later on this week. So a great exclusive sit down and a lot of detail when you read that piece. So I'm looking forward to getting my eyes on that, and I think it'll be a terrific one. If you go to the website and subscribe, you'll obviously have full access to that. And also, one last thing, Derek. We always go on about the website and subscribing to the website, but that's a big support to us and keeps us going doing this, which we offer for free. But also, if you're on watching us now and you haven't subscribed to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It'll give you notifications when we go live, and is massively important to helping us drive this channel and what we do forward. So please do that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get to some other the points that were coming in from yesterday. So much to talk about. I wanted to touch on this, Johnny, because this sums up the goldfish bowl that is Glasgow and the nonsense that gets.
I know what you're going to talk about here.
Yeah. Michael Beale speaking yesterday about, of course, Some people getting a tad upset that he used the term other team to describe Celtic last week when he was asked a question on can they claw back the 9 points. He says, well, we need to lose games and the other team has to have to lose some. And he says he was unhappy at that comment. He says it was an innocent comment. He said, listen, I'm new back in the country. Didn't get where I am being disrespectful to anybody. I was asked a question that we are 9 points behind. And my answer was we had to win and the other team had to lose some. That wasn't in any way disrespectful. I want to cut that short where it is. I've got no issue with naming the other team's names, Celtic, Aberdeen, Hibs, or whoever it is. No way am I ever going to be disrespectful. And he went on and said it was an innocent comment and it's been taken too far. Hopefully that's it nipped in the bud, Johnny. For me, it's sad that he has to come out and sort of defend himself for saying this the other day.
He obviously felt really strongly about it, Derek, because he came out with it unprompted. It wasn't in response to a question. No. He brought it up.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think he should have given it the oxygen of publicity, because now, today, the back pages are going to be full of this stuff, and then now you're going to get a load of columns coming on people's thoughts on this. So it kind of goes from a sort of minor controversy based around, I think, one column in the Sunday Mail by Hugh Keevins, and there might have been more that was written about it, but I think that's the one that I saw.
I think Andy Walker said it was disrespectful at the time, wasn't it?
So Andy Walker as well, right? Okay, so there was a sort of I mean, I wasn't even really aware of that because I kind of avoid these kind of stories. But for me, now it's going to kind of trundle on. Is he being disrespectful? Isn't he being disrespectful? It's classic kind of brainless Glasgow pish, for want of a better word. You know, you know, it's just boring, really boring. And one of these kind of false controversies. If he was doing it all the time, you know, then a different story. If he was saying the other club all the time, consistently, and he was making a play of it, then okay. Then I think that then that's open to debate. And the question about pandering, or the question about whether or not it's respectful is I think fair. But I really think we just need to be a little bit more careful, given that it was a one-off comment. Yes. And this explanation that Michael Beale's given is perfectly valid and viable, and no one could really come back, because, you know, anyone in any given moment can say anything and it can be misconstrued. And especially, you know, we've had it ourselves, Derek, in these live environments where you say something and you go, I probably wouldn't have framed that like that if I'd thought about it more deeply, you know. And it's just the way that life works, especially when your every word or your every utterance is captured, and Michael Beale's in that situation. But I mean, really, no one with a brain cell is taking this too seriously, I don't think so. Let's move on.
Absolutely. And let's move on to tonight. Let's discuss how we think the team is going to look like, Johnny. I think Michael Beale touched on, he was asked where he thinks that the players are in terms of getting his ideas across. He says we're 45 minutes in. He's that second half, I think, against Hibs. A lot of encouraging signs. It's by no way, there's certainly lots of improvement to be done. He did touch on this at halftime. He felt that, I've got a lot of work to do here to sort this out. But we did see shoots of recovery in that second half against Hibs. It will give us a bit of encouragement heading into this game tonight. In terms of the team then, do you think it's going to differ much from the side that started against Hibs? I think there is going to be at least a Goldson or a Ben Davies in that back line, you'd imagine.
Yeah, it sounded to me like they were both going to play, Derek, when Michael Beale was talking about it at the presser, talking about whether or not, you know, they will play the whole 90 minutes or not. So I think they're both starting. Goldson will be massive, absolutely massive. It's a tough place to go. We know that Pittodrie for Rangers is historically, and based on the results, not based on anything else, a completely different proposition to what Celtic face up there. It's a maelstrom. Aberdeen will go for it. I think they'll be
Do you
more
think they will,
attacking than
Johnny?
they were.
Do you think they will? Because he was asked this. I mean, they parked the bus. Jim Goodwin likes to park the bus against Rangers, and they did so at the weekend. Do you think they'll do that? Will the Aberdeen fans tolerate that against Rangers tonight? Do you think they will have a go?
I think they have to, because Jim Goodwin's under serious pressure for the way he performed against Celtic. I don't mind that tactic. Jim Goodwin clearly thinks there's a way you can shut Celtic down. The problem was that they didn't have any outball. They didn't offer any threat. Now, he cited St Mirren before the game and how they performed. But the difference was St Mirren were a threat to Celtic. That's why they scored the 2 goals. But they had other chances as well. And while they dominated play against St Mirren and Paisley, St Mirren had the ability to break and cause problems. Aberdeen didn't offer anything. It was a nothing performance going forward. So it all came down to, you either get a result playing like this, and if you don't, there's going to be huge levels of criticism. I've said before, and I'll say it again, it reminded me of Craig Levine's 4-6-0 against in Prague against the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Because there was no intent to get forwards. Like I say, Aberdeen are a proud club, and their fans have an expectation of a certain level of standards based on the size of their club in the context of Scottish football. And they're not happy when they see what is essentially a tactical surrender like that. Now, there's a reason behind it. We all know that. I just cannot imagine Jim Goodwin would do the same thing again. I think he would come under intense pressure for his job if he did that and they were to lose another one. Because, as I say, Aberdeen fans, they have an expectation, and I don't think that was being met. And I can totally understand it, because it was grim to watch, Derek. I watched the game. It was one of the worst games to watch. There was literally no threat whatsoever. And I personally, I don't know about you, but I just watched it thinking Celtic are going to score here.
It's only a matter of time.
It's a matter of time. It might be the 89th minute, it might be the 93rd minute. They're going to score, because they always score. And if you don't have the kind of punch to hurt them, then they'll hurt you eventually. And Goodwin, for me, he needs to be more attacking, and that plays into Rangers' hands. But that's the realpolitik of playing like that against Celtic. And I think Rangers will win comfortably tonight up there. I think it'll be a 2-0 job. And I think that'll be because of Goodwin being forced into a more attacking tactic.
Yeah, well, Michael Beale did say this. If teams do come out, it suits them better, and it does. There's no doubt about it. Rangers have had an issue this season with breaking teams down. It's been an issue for some time, hasn't it, with the low block and getting in behind. So the onus will be on the more creative players, the likes of Malik Tillman, Ryan Kent, to really carve those openings. It was interesting. He touched on Ryan Kent yesterday. He says, "I like him to have the license to roam. I don't like him to play on one side of the pitch." So that's interesting. We did see that against Hibs, Johnny, didn't we? Where he was picking up little positions on the front line all over the place, and that keeps defences guessing, doesn't it? He's not sort of pigeonholed into that one position, as we've seen under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. I think there's more fluidity in that front line, which I'm a big fan of. I think that's the best way forward. Who starts for you in that front line? No Antonio Cholak, of course. Is it Alfredo again and Fashion Sakala up top, playing the two strikers up at Pittodrie?
I think so, mate. I think so. I don't know what other option you feasibly have. I mean, you could play Matondo up there. Now, we saw that against Leverkusen. I would play Sakala over Matondo every day of the week because he delivers goals and assists. And I mean, it's been talked about what a wonderful move that was for the goal that he scored. That's what Fashion Sakala can do. When he is given a chance, he is a very, very good finisher, and he causes chaos. So I would go with Sakala, and I would go with Morelos, and I think that's what he'll do. Anything else, Derek, I think you're raising eyebrows at the lineup, aren't you? You're going, this doesn't really make sense, unless there's something tactically that he feels he's identified that Rabbi Matondo would offer a bigger threat. I think the big thing about Pittodrie, mate, we can get Josh on and go into the tactical detail of all this. But if my years of watching Scottish football have taught me anything, tactics go out the window a little bit in a game like this in Scottish football. It's going to be blood and thunder. It's going to be 100 miles an hour. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be broken. And Rangers have to win the fight and then win the game. And it sounds archaic. It sounds your da. But it's just a fact of life, unfortunately, in this game. It's not the same, obviously, down south in the Premier League. It's not the same in Serie A. But Scotland is always going to have this element to it, this barbarism.
Stuff.
And listen, that's part of the reason that we love it. You know, there's a real kind of, I was going to say nasty side, but there's a physically challenging side to Scottish football. And Rangers going up to Aberdeen, they're always going to find that waiting for them. So they have to be bang up for it. It's going to be a real cold night. They're going to have to be really warm and ready to go. And hopefully they can put a fire under Aberdeen's backside from the club's point of view and stick another 3 points on the board.
Yeah, the only question that remains then, Johnny, is, of course, John Lundstram played at the back on Thursday night. Now, if Goldson or Davies or the both of them come back in, there's question marks over who starts in midfield. Now, Glenn Kamara and Ryan Jack were the players trusted to carry out that role on Thursday night. Does John Lundstram move into midfield? There's a bit of a headache there for the manager, is there not? You can't pick all three, I don't think. Who drops out between those three?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, that. Now, does Ryan Jack play 2 games in such a short period of time? I say such a short period of time. It's really, 5 days? 5 days, Derek?
Yeah, because we played Thursday, so it's not exactly playing at the weekend, is it? So
it's so
weird.
I don't know. I think if you're Michael Beale, you probably look at that second half performance and say that's how I want it to look. So I suspect that he might just keep it as it is, but it depends on whether or not he wants to do a rotation and swap in Lundstram for Jack. I'd probably do that. I'd probably play Lundstram, but Jack is definitely more tactically savvy than Lundstram, who is a bit more likely to make a run or to not cover someone in a way that leaves the team exposed, and that's something I think he's highlighted, Beale, that Rangers have a slight problem when it comes to the counter-attacks. And that's just down to him getting the team organised in terms of the way he wants to play. Ryan Jack offers him absolute discipline in that regard. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Jack retains his place. I think it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. I mean, Lundstram has been sensational for a year. He's had his ups and downs this season, but mostly still being one of the best players in the team. So I think that's going to be very telling about what is in store for Lundstram and Jack, because I think we've talked about it. I would not be absolutely shocked if John Lundstram is a loser in this switch of manager. Now, I don't think he will be. Probably think he'll still be a major player. Yeah. But the Beale system, if it's anything like the system they used under Gerrard, I mean, Lundstram didn't really fit it that well, did he? Now, that might have been other factors. It might have been just settling in, getting used to Scottish football. But the evidence is there if you want to make that case.
Yeah, I remember the podcast he done. I'm not too sure if it's the one he done with Paddy the Baddie, where he said that when Gerrard came in, he was almost sort of he was trying too hard to impress. I wonder if that was a factor at the start of his Rangers career, perhaps. And who knows? But listen, I think it's a big decision that Michael Beale will have to make tonight, is who starts in midfield and throughout the team. But let's hope that Rangers do the business and carry on where they left off against Hibs on Thursday night. It's a huge game. We will have all the pre-match stuff. I think there'll be a halftime spaces tonight, Johnny. If I'm
there
not
will be indeed. Yes, there will be indeed.
If you follow us on Twitter, folks, these prove pretty popular at halftime. We'll give our thoughts on the first half events, and then of course we'll have all the post-match reaction as well. So stay tuned to our social media channels and also the website for all the reaction and things from the game tonight. Just head over to rangersreview.co.uk. Okay, we'll speak to you again later on, but until then, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and we'll speak to you later. Cheers, bye.